Hello, everybody. My name is Ben Roberts,
And I'm Michael.
and we're coming back at you. We thought we'd give you everybody a year in review. What 2020 held for us as far as flipping and just 2020 in general, and thought some people might be interested learning from our mistakes, and we'll see where it goes.
All right. So 2020 was just weird in every aspect, including reselling. For me, I got my eBay account banned like in March, I believe, so I didn't have eBay for a while because eBay decided not to allow sellers to sell certain things during the pandemic, and I got banned, so that happened. That was a little hiccup. But overall, I think the year, even though it had challenges, also presented new opportunities for resellers because people weren't going out and buying like normal, and a lot of people were staying in and shopping from home, and so in a way it was good. It was good and bad.
So we were talking before about how much we were making and stuff like that. Did you look at your other account?
I did pull,
because
I had like a couple months from my initial account in 2020, and then in April is when I started my new account.
Okay.
So I pulled those numbers. There was a little gap, but I don't think it made too much of a difference.
Okay. So starting off the year, I actually told people, I was like, this is going to be the best year that I had, and it was close. Last year was a little bit better, but I was really excited about flipping. I had somebody to flip with, that makes it better.
Yeah.
And so, I was ready to get going, and about the time flipping starts, garage sales and stuff like that starts, the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And it didn't really get going, I didn't feel, until the end of summer, probably, late June, July or something like that. It started really showing up and everything. But so is that how you feel about it? I mean,
yes, and yeah. It was definitely a big hurdle, especially for garage sale season. We buy stuff at different places, but I think by far garage sale is our best sourcing avenue, especially in our area. So we were like really dry there for a while, and it was and having to spend more money for inventory during that season too, buying in other places like Facebook and pawn shops and retail. Those you pay more and you make less at those places. That's just what it is. So it definitely was a hiccup. I hope it doesn't happen again in 2021.
Yeah, I think not.
Yeah.
I think everybody kind of got out of their system, because there for March and April, there were no garage sales. And even into May, there was, 5 or 6 a weekend, and that was it, and those are the best months of garage selling, so, and even sourcing like you do at Ross, it was shut down for a while.
Yeah, it was shut down for a while.
What did that look like? Because I didn't go with you a whole lot, so at first.
So it seemed like just when I started retail, sourcing, I started getting a little bit efficient and finding some good stuff. It shut down too. So to go from really, really good, like at its peak, to nothing, and then even when they reopened, it took them a while to kind of get inventory back in and finding stuff that was worth reselling, and then when the stores opened back up, a lot of people wanted to go to the store, so they were buying stuff, so it was really, really tough initially as well. So that was a curve also, and I think I consider myself fairly new to reselling. I didn't have the inventory to support a pandemic and support myself and stay with the numbers that I was producing during that time. I think going forward it'll be different.
Yeah.
I think I'm in a lot better position now than I was December of 2019. So I'm not too worried about it going forward.
So we did a couple of different things this year. We did antique booth. How do you think that went? Or
I like the booth. I like the idea of the booth. I like having a place. To me, it was more like an outlet, the hobby side of it. I like finding the antique, the older, the vintage stuff. But I don't really like listing that stuff. I don't know. But to have a place where you can just go and set it and people can look at it and appreciate it and buy it if they want to. It did make us money. I don't think we ever lost money.
No.
It just wasn't worth for me the time to have that hobby. And just make a little bit financially. It made more sense to spend that time, in the online stuff.
And I think, going over the year, I think I agree with you. Like, there were a couple of months that we lost money, but the months that we made money made up for it, And so I actually think this next year, like, I'm going to pay January's rent. And I think I'm going to try to sell the store and see if anybody does it. Mm-hmm. If not, just let them have it or whatever. Because though it made money, it's kind of nitpicky because it's the stuff that doesn't sell good on eBay.
Yeah.
And just the time of it, That time is better spent somewhere else,
Yeah.
So.
And when we say make money, we're counting dollar against dollars. So that's kind of hard to gauge. We're talking about that too, even with the eBay stuff and the online stuff. It's like, so booth rent, let's say it's $300, and you get a check after you pay your booth rent of $250. Well, he lost $50, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you may have put $500 more of inventory in your booth.
Yeah. So
did you really lose?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that we consider a loss making less money than we spent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's hard to gauge too.
Yeah, it is. And there were some good months, especially, like at the end of summer, it picked up and everything, and we moved booths and stuff like that, so.
Yeah.
If there was a good thing that happened in 2020, what do you think it was?
I think the best thing for reselling or just in general?
Either way, both.
In general, 2020, if you allowed people to get a lot closer to the ones that they love and care about the most, and kind of reprioritize those things. I think before, people in general, including myself, spent a lot of time doing a lot of stuff that didn't really matter. And even in reselling, we do it to make money, obviously, right? But past making money, what is the purpose behind us doing what we do?
Mm-hmm.
I think it allowed me to refocus that and prioritize that. I think there for a season, I just wanted to make money just to make money.
Yeah. Just 'cause you could.
Yeah. And, I always tell people to do stuff on purpose, with a purpose. And it kind of helped me reestablish my purpose as to why I'm doing this.
Okay.
I want to get out of debt. Well, why do I want to get out of debt? I don't want to transfer debt. I don't want, I think the American dream has kind of shifted lately into get all the cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We want the cool cars, we want the cool house, we want all these things, when really what I want is not to pass debt or the mentality of debt to my family, because you become a slave to that.
Sure.
You become so dependent on making money that you have to do it, and then something like a pandemic happens and it's like, oh crap, what are we going to do?
Mm-hmm.
I want to get my family in a place where we can pour into other families and help other families and not be so caught up in what we have to pay and all that mess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And really, what can we do? What can we produce with what we're earning?
Sure.
As opposed to, well, what do we have to pay with what we're earning?
Yeah. Because if I wasn't in debt, I probably wouldn't have to do this.
Right.
Like right now, I kind of have to do it. But
right.
2020, I was thinking about it. It was exciting to see if you paid attention to people taught you about themselves this year, and not that there's a right way or wrong way, but I watched a lot of people in 2020, especially people we go to church with and things like that, to see how they reacted to such a thing. Mm-hmm. And now I know how to deal with them, and not deal with them in a bad or good way, but it's just like data points for people. It's like, oh, this person is like this, and I didn't really know that until now.
Yeah.
And I was probably the same way. People probably saw me a different way this year, because I was very intentional with a lot of things. So that was interesting if you paid attention to it. So.
Right.
And then as far as the flipping stuff, it was especially early on, video games were fantastic in March and April and May. I think we went, or I did anyway. I went to Lubbock and Midland, Odessa, and bought up every weed.
We made a San Angelo trip.
It made a San Angelo trip. We did. Bought up every weed and almost every weed game we could find, you know, and did well because everybody was staying at home, you know, so that was kind of different. Surprising different, you know, because just a few months before that, weeds were going for like $25, $30,
Right.
and now they were going for $80, you know, so.
And $5 at the garage sale.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was interesting to start off the year with anyway, you know, so. How did we end up with 2020, Mike? What did you don't have to share everything if you don't want to, but just what did your eBay business look like? I guess we'll start there.
So we're talking about numbers. Like, I didn't really have a goal as far as gross sales going into 2020. I think last year I was around 40 to 50,000 in gross sales on eBay, and this year I pretty much doubled that.
Okay.
Which is really good. But then again, this is probably something that I should be doing, but I don't really want to. Tracking all that information, because I do have, this year I had 3 consignment partners. People who had inventory or had items and didn't necessarily want to spend the time selling them, or knew if they sold them locally they wouldn't get the money that they wanted in return. So I took those items, I sold them for them, then I kept a percentage of those profits. I don't know what that amount is, nor did I care to spend the time to know what that was. I know what I paid them out. I had those numbers, but I don't know what I kept. Yeah. So that was a thing. And then I sold a little under 5,000 in goat sales, so shoe sales directly on Goat Marketplace. So that was good too. Those sales are real easy. Hardly any work at all. You do it all on your app. I don't have to take pictures anymore because of the seller level I'm at. So that's good. And then I have about $30,000 of inventory sitting in my garage or my extra closet. So I think that's the best thing coming out of 2020 for me is I have $30,000 of crap sitting in my house that I probably paid somewhere between, if I was to guess, $3,000 to $4,000 for. Okay. You know, so that's really, really good. Again, I don't have the data to back that up. That's just what I feel is about right. That's probably. So going to next year, I want to try to gross over 100,000 online, and I have some measures in place to be able to do that fairly easily, I believe. Okay. And then I want to have end the year with over 50,000 in inventory. Okay. All while spending less time that I spent in 2020.
Yeah. I feel like we spent a lot of time this year making it happen. I guess, you know, more than we should have.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So those are great numbers. So I was looking at my transactions, and do you happen to know your transactions? How many sales you did this year?
No.
Because I was trying to make a goal for what I'm gonna do next year, and I think it's gonna be transaction based. My store is quite different than Mike's eBay store, but so on eBay last year, on the one account, I have 2 different accounts. I didn't even look at the other one because it wasn't very much, but I sold at year to date 1,047 items for just under 35,000. Now my cost is probably pretty significantly less than your cost is.
Right.
So I kind of did some back of the envelope calculations. I guess probably around 20,000 of that was profit after eBay and everything, you know, which is pretty good for really part-time, you know. And I've been watching a lot of videos for YouTubers and stuff like that, and you know they're talking about their sell-through rates, and they're saying if you have a 30% sell-through rate, then that's good. Well, right now I have 800 listings, give or take a little bit, and I sold 1,000 listings, so my sell-through rate is like almost 60%. If I'm doing math right, you know, something like that. So that's pretty good sell-through rate, I think, you know, and which was surprising to me because I think a lot of my stuff just sits for a long period of time. You know, Christmas changed a lot of that. A lot of my old stuff sold through Christmas. So, you know, I don't think I can sustain 60% sell through rate. And a lot of my stuff is lower end, but still that $30 per sale,
Right.
if you average it out, which is a lot more than I thought it was. I was afraid I was going to be under $20 per sale. So, looking at next year, and we were talking about, I have a whole storage building full of stuff. Probably, you know, like I said, $5,000 to $7,000 or $8,000 worth of the listing price on eBay in storage, ready to sell. So that's pretty good place to start. You know, even if the first of the year hiccups,
Right.
I think I'll be all right. But you know, one of my goals is I was trying to figure out. I just need to get more consistent with listing.
Right.
You know, I make no excuses. That's the worst thing I hate about this eBay business is listing. We actually pay somebody to list items for us every now and again, but I want to do consistently. I was going to say 40 a week. You know, that's 8 a day or whatever. And then I have my other channel my other eBay store, and I want to do 2 things a day at least on that. You know, and so to me, the money will take care of itself. I don't need to extract a whole lot of that money to make my life work. But if I consistently list, then everything will work out, you know. So
Yeah, and that's very, very true, Ben. Like you said, it'll take care of itself. And for a lot of people who don't know about eBay or listing and how eBay works, it's a computer. You know, it's an algorithm. It's a system that's set up, and the more you list, the more you sell. That's what it is. And the more consistently you list, the more you sell. So Ben could, on his day off on Saturday or Monday, he could go and list all 40 items of his goal. That's probably not going to be the best for Ben, because the way the algorithm is set up on eBay, it is better for Ben to list 8 items a day. Take a little time and do that. And you know, it's like exercise. You know, you don't go to the gym and say, okay, me in the gym, we're 8 hours, it's a full day today. That's probably not going to be the best thing for you. But if you did a little something every day, the results would produce. Yeah.
And when I was making the goal, I said I need to do like 15 a day. I was trying to reach for them. I was like, first of all, that's a lot of stuff you got to find, you know. And this is still part time, and so I was like, man, like I'm gonna be spending all my time looking for stuff, and I don't want that to be the case. So, and so you know, like right now, my goal is, you know, the person that we have lists on Monday and Thursday, and so I can list Tuesday, Wednesday, and probably not Friday. You know, we'll do it those 4 days, because Friday during garage sale, we're getting ready for garage sale season and stuff like that, you know. So I'll focus in on that. My goal, you know, is not a sales goal, but my goal is to be debt free next year, except for my wife's car. Like that'll be, so I'll have my home and my wife's car, and everything else will be gone, you know. So
that'd be great.
Whatever number that takes to make that happen, I think that's a good goal.
Yeah.
For me, so I think that'll make me happy.
Yeah, that'll make it make you want to do this. You
Yeah.
know? It's pretty fun what we do. It's not a headache. The only headache I have is listing.
Yeah.
Which I don't do much of anymore, anyways. But every once in a while, you have a customer issue, but we spend so little for what we get. You know, for what we're selling. A lot of times we resolve it by just say, hey, don't worry about it. You know, just keep it or whatever. I'll give you a refund.
Yeah.
But having a good goal, something that you can accomplish and look forward to, that just makes anything worthwhile doing. You know, a lot of times people work jobs, and jobs are great, and they provide a means to something. But when you have a goal in mind and you see the product of that hard work, it's just so much better, and it makes you want to do it. You know, and I think over time that's going to change for me and for you.
Yeah.
With this, I know it is.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's going to be. I know that we both serve a God that is beyond anything that we can imagine, and He can take 2 friends, 2 of His sons, and a hobby that they have, and He can change people's worlds.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting to see what happens.
So, speaking of changing people's worlds, we we started a lot of people flipping this year.
We did.
So how many did we do? I didn't even try to count earlier.
Well,
Between
there
the
were
two of
some
us.
that fell off, some that are doing really well, and some who are on their way to doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say 5 or 6 are actively doing it, and at different levels.
Yeah.
You know, some are just like, hey, this is fun. Some are like, this is a part-time gig, and some are on their way to making a full-time income.
Yeah.
So it's a real thing. It's definitely a real thing. You know, grossing $80,000 this year on a part-time basis. Most people don't do that full-time.
Yeah.
You know, you take out expenses and costs and all that stuff, and just like you have a regular job, you take out taxes and expenses and insurance and all that stuff. But it's a real thing. It's a real possibility. If you're thinking about changing it up, if you're thinking about doing something different, it doesn't hurt to start. You know, you don't have to say, okay, I'm going full time, quitting my job today. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
But you can put your foot in the water and see how it feels, you
Sure.
know, and see if it's something you want to do.
Yeah, to me, that was more exciting this year than making the money, you know, was watching all these new people. It's almost like we gave them permission to do, you know, because, there's a side to this that some people think is dirty or whatever the word is that you're looking for, you know, and by, I feel like by us showing them like, hey, this is something that's a valid thing that you could do in your spare time, and it's not evil or none of that kind of stuff, you know, then it gave a lot of people permission to try it, you know, that wouldn't have, you know.
Right.
Especially early in the year, I didn't talk about so much later on, but used to I talked about money all the time, like, hey, here's what I'm doing, you know, and on these videos I'm saying, I paid this much for this, but I'm not factoring in eBay costs and all that kind of stuff. I'm just telling you what it is, you know. But I think a lot of people paid attention to that this year, to me, and then especially once you got in on it, that it just showed them it was possible, you know.
Yeah. And there's certain things, certain situations that, you know, come up, and it's like, if you don't feel right about it, then it's probably not right.
Yeah.
You know, and that comes up from time to time. You know, sometimes we're at sales or situations come up on buying and selling, and some stuff, you know, we correct those things, and we do our best to represent the God that we serve and do right by Him primarily. So there are some things that we don't do. There's some things that we have no problem doing, you know, because of the situation. But I have no problem going to Ross and dealing with all the people and searching for stuff and finding something that's that cost me $25 and selling it for $100, because a lot of people aren't going to do that. There was a time in my life you couldn't pay me to go into Ross. Vicky could not drag me in there.
Yeah, I hate it.
And then you have to find it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We spend time doing research and sourcing and knowing what has value and what doesn't. Just like anything else, you know. Some people's time, because of their skill set, is worth more than others. I take my son to batting practice. We went this week. $100 for 1 hour.
Yeah.
Does that man feel bad for me paying him $100 for that 1 hour? No, because that man has spent his life in that sport.
He probably needs more than $100,
right?
To make a bunch of money.
He knows stuff that I don't know.
Sure.
You know, he's played Division I college ball. He's played in the majors. He has contacts and sources. He knows stuff I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way I look at this. You know, people can't get certain things or don't have access to it or don't know the information that we know, and we in exchange get paid for that information.
Sure.
And the product. So that's the way I look at it, and it makes me realize, you know, this is okay. This is good.
I make up a lot of it on the back end of stuff. So with my eBay people, I'm real customer service focused, I guess. And so, you know, if somebody gets something from me and it's not what they thought it was, or whatever the situation is, a ride broke or whatever, them reaching out, it's almost always defensive. You know, like, hey, this broke and this, and I'm gonna do, like you can tell that they're not being nice about it for the most part,
Right.
And for the most part, unless it gets up in dollar amount, I'm just like, hey, sorry about this, keep it, and here's your money back. Like that. Like, and I think most of those people are like, thank you for making this so easy and all that kind of stuff, So it's not that I'm trying to squeeze every dollar out of it,
Right.
Like, hey, if life happens, like, I'll just make it easy. I don't want the headache. You don't want the headache. Let's make it good.
For sure. I had a sweater that I sent out a few weeks ago, and the customer got it this past week, and I sent him the wrong sweater. I got 4 that are pretty similar. They're all the same size, all the same brand. They're just different colors.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent him the wrong sweater, and it's not cheap, And I'm like, crap, that's my fault.
Mm-hmm.
Keep the sweater, and I'm gonna send you the one you bought, because I don't want them to have to. If that was me, I don't want to send the crap back. I don't want to go to the post office. I don't want to make a label. I don't want to do none of that. So keep it, and then your new ones, your one that you wanted initially, it's coming to, stuff like that. And there's a lot of things, Ben, that we don't necessarily need to divulge on camera, but reselling allows me to help a lot of situations, a lot of people, with either product or with money, with knowledge, all that kind of stuff. So it's been good. I don't know how long. I don't know if I'm a lifer or if this is the last year. I can't say that, but I'm feeling really good about it now and excited to see what will happen, what the future holds with it.
Yeah, even simple things like I'm sure you have this too. People all the time come up to me like, "Hey, I'm looking for a whatever."
Yeah.
And then in the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'll find that whatever. And sometimes I'll give it to them. If it's more, I'll charge them for it or whatever. But that's still beneficial to them.
Right. For sure.
Whether I'm charging them for it or not.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
And that's happening a lot for me right now. I'm trying to build my Instagram and Facebook following,
mm-hmm.
and that's happening. Like, just people just message me and are pleasant with the transactions that we're having. They know what I'm doing. They know that I'm buying stuff and I resell it, and they know that I buy stuff from them to resell it. And as stuff comes up, either they're selling or looking for, and I know that's what they want or that's their taste, I'll message them and say, hey, I got this. Or they'll message me, hey, I'm cleaning out my closet and got this stuff. So that's been working really good, and that kind of back and forth, and it helps people to not have to waste time with stuff.
Yeah, because some people don't want to do stuff, I had a message this morning. This lady had 2 bicycles, and her granddaughters or somebody outgrew them. And she said, do you want these? I'm giving them away for free. Well, yeah, I want them. I'll take 2 bicycles. But she doesn't want to go through the trouble of listing them and having people come to her house and all that kind of stuff. She knows what I'm going to do with them.
Right.
But she, it's just like, these are in her way, basically, and I can get rid of them, So that's a different side to what we're talking about, but just helping people. I feel like we do a lot of that,
Yeah. And those are the type of things that you don't forget. She doesn't forget, and you're not going to forget. So when life happens or situations happen or opportunities present themselves, for example, with this person, you're more apt to know about those, and you're more apt to do something about them too, which is a good thing.
Yeah. A Facebook Marketplace. Where were you at this year with that?
So I know I sold a lot of stuff on Facebook. I don't have track of it. Yeah. So that 80,000 gross or 80-ish is probably higher. I know I sold some high dollar things on Facebook Marketplace this year. Things that I don't want to list on Facebook on eBay, bigger items that you don't want to ship and stuff. Sold a lot of shoes on Facebook locally. So it works. It really does. It's just dealing with the people and meeting people. Right now, my nephew's living with us, so I've kind of been using him to do that for me because he's home most of the day and has a car, so that's been working out pretty good. But yeah, if you don't want to worry about learning eBay or learning Goat or learning in shipping and all that stuff, you can make a good amount of side money just on Facebook, buying and selling.
Yeah, and so ask you about this. So when I go through my Facebook Marketplace feed, most of that stuff is shipped now. It seems like you can go in there and turn that off. But you ever consider shipping or playing with it, or it's just too much of a hassle?
I haven't considered it really. I bought a couple of things from people who have shipped.
Mm-hmm.
About a third of those have gone not so good. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just, it seems to me like the back end, like the support is not there yet.
The protections.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly, the protections. So that for that reason, I don't mess with it. People are locally are already pretty skeptical until they know you, or you're not selling a product that's like there's no skepticism involved. Like I sell a lot of shoes and streetwear and stuff like that, a lot of brand name stuff. So there's skepticism with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with a local that I can show them, or they can come and verify that the item is good, and build a rapport or relationship with me, or see that, hey, we have some of the same friends on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
That alleviates a lot of that. So I just stay local with Facebook.
One of the things I noticed, 4 or 5 months ago, I bought a storage building, and I was keeping a lot of my Facebook stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
I was flipping a lot of furniture and stuff like that on Facebook, and it seems like a lot more of those sales go better because they're not coming to somebody's house than I was expecting. It's just a lot more of them are responding yes, and they're actually coming, because Facebook's a weird thing where 10 people say they want it, and then that's not even a good number. 30 people say they want it, and one of them will finally buy it. Mm-hmm. But I've noticed, saying, hey, one of the first things I'll say is that my storage? So just tell me what time you want to meet, and I send them the address to the storage building. And so I don't know what that does, but it seems like my sales have been going a lot better because of that. So. Facebook's a weird place, but and I don't have any idea how much money I made off of it, but it's significant.
Yeah,
it was more than you would think. So
and it's a good place to source. I bought a 3DS last week for $125 and some games, and put it on eBay, and a few days later I doubled my money.
Yeah,
so it's good.
Good.
Yeah. So this year, 2021. I'm excited for garage sales. Mm-hmm. That's bread and butter, right?
Can I say something about that? I feel like you're going to leave garage sales this year.
I'm going to leave?
Like you're not going to go with me as much. Is that the truth, or that's false?
That's not my intentional truth going into it.
Okay, good.
Because I think
the
system works.
Okay.
So we have roles. We have jobs. I'm the driver.
Absolutely.
I'm the driver.
I wrecked my truck twice this year.
I provide the truck.
Being the driver.
I make sure the truck's empty. They have gas most of the time. Ben's the navigator and the mapper and the finder. Digitally. He does not look at the signs on the road. He's very bad at that. I got to tell him, hey, what did that say? But other than that, we have our roles.
I got a plan to fix all that this year.
Okay. And it works because of that reason. And then usually most weekends we bring somebody along because it's funner. Mm-hmm. We have fun together when we do that. So I don't plan on leaving you for garage sales. I don't know where you got that from.
My thinking was, like, you're doing a lot of raw stuff in Burlington and Marshalls and all that kind of stuff. And so I was like, okay, so he's going to move away from that. Yeah. And you probably will at some point, but...
I don't know. Garage sales is fun. And I get the difference between two differences between garage sale and the retail. Number one is the returns are a lot better on garage sale. Mm-hmm. And the best thing about garage sales is you get to interact with people. Mm-hmm. You get to meet people. You get to talk to people. You develop relationships. Like this year, I picked up one of my consignment partners through a garage sale, and he's so cool. He's an older Mexican dude. Doesn't talk much English, and he buys storage buildings, units. But he doesn't want to learn eBay and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So he's helping me out. I'm helping him. Anyways. I don't plan to do that. I do still plan, and even like the retail stuff, it's kind of getting slower for me. I'm not really going to. I used to go to Odessa, go to Marshalls, Burlington, all that stuff. I really just been staying around Ross here, just when I have time.
Let me ask you a question. So if you lived in Dallas or someplace where there's 13 Rosses, do you think you would not do as much garage sales because you have more?
I think I would.
Okay.
Number one, I'll run out of money.
Yeah.
Because those items cost more. And those items seem to be a quicker flip also for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I would I would do it less grotto if I did it at all. But I still plan to do it. I still plan to do retail for sure. And it seems to come in seasons. Sometimes stores get stuff in seasons. They're really hot, and sometimes they're garbage. Right now, Burlington is really hot. People are finding stuff at Burlington. But because I'm not in Odessa, I don't go. If I go once a week, maybe, I'm not getting the stuff because you have to be consistent with it. And it's just distance prevents me from doing that. But I also bought a sneaker bot at the end of this year. I bought a Supreme bot at the end of this year. So I'm excited to see what that's going to do in the next year. I think it's going to be a lot easier to get inventory, but I also believe that because those items cost so much, money is going to become a problem. Since I started this with you, I pulled out $100 out of my pocket, my money, and I haven't pulled any more out. It's all been off of sales and reinvesting and stuff like that. So I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But this year might make me.
Yeah.
I hope not.
So it seems, you talk a lot about shoes, but I watch your page. It looks like you sell more clothing than you do shoes. Is that easier to come by, especially in a small town like this?
Yes. So that's what that is. It's just availability.
Yeah.
Shoes are harder to come by, and shoes cost more. So you have to really gauge, okay, is this really worth investing this much money in this product? Or is it better doing this? And shoes are just harder to get, especially like those hype releases. You're lucky if you can get 1 to 3 pairs, if you have measures in place to get them.
Sure.
Otherwise, not happening.
Yeah.
But is it worth more buying 4 jackets for $100 and probably doubling your money, tripling your money? Or is it worth buying that $100 pair of sneakers and you make $30 to $40?
Yeah. One thing people used to always ask me, and we can end on this if you want to. So, we started doing this June of 2019. Is that right?
Yes.
Somewhere along those. Economy was great for 7 months or whatever, and then it kind of tanked or whatever. And when I worked at the pawn shop, people ask me all the time, like, y'all probably do better. Y'all probably do pretty good whenever the economy's down. And I said, well, I make money when the economy's down and when the economy's up. Like there's almost no difference in the pawn shop world. There wasn't,
right.
At least the way I did it. So you've kind of seen equal amounts of both seasons. Which do you think is better for flipping?
I think whatever you think is good, is best, and is going to happen, that's what's not going to happen.
Okay.
For me, anyways. I don't think there's a right and wrong season.
Okay.
I think each season presents different opportunities to different types of people in that moment. And you, as a reseller, you have to think about those before they happen. A lot of things in 2020 we missed out on because we were behind those happenings. But if you can think ahead of those things, what are people going to need? What are people going to want? What are people going to be willing to pay for in the season they're in, and be able to find those things at a reasonable price to then resell them at a reasonable price, you can do really well in any season.
Yeah.
Regardless of who's the president, is oil up or down, what the economy's doing, people are still going to need certain things.
Sure. Yeah. Video games and puzzles, like stuff that people were doing at home caught us off guard this year. You're like, who buys used puzzles? And and so
we would have known how video games were going to blow up in 2018.
Yeah. When
people were just throwing them away. I mean, we would have went across the state and bought them.
Yeah.
And we probably would have got rich this year. But hey, it didn't.
and we talked about it last week. I said there's a couple of video games I sold that I know I just sold like within the past 2 or 3 months, and I sold them right before Christmas for double what I did the previous month, and so, you kind of want to watch that stuff, but you just don't know all of what's going to happen. Because if I would known, I just hold on to these for 3 more months and I'll get double, I probably would have held on to them, but you just don't know. So
it's probably gonna be a lengthy video, but I think it's worthwhile to watch.
I'm going to chop it up into. I'm going to do the whole one and then chop it up as well.
Okay, nice.
Into bite-sized segments, I guess.
Cool.
And so, thank you for joining along with us. Like and subscribe if you like that. If you want to see something special or specific, let us know that. Next few weeks, I'm going to be buying a GoPro or replace my GoPro, so that way whenever garage sale season starts, I don't like to have my phone not being used.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to do that, so that way we can film.
Cool.
Estate sales and garage sales and all that kind of stuff. So nice. I'm excited about this next year.
Me too.
Yeah.
All right. Catch you on the next one.